I'm Mike.
And I'm Morgan.
And this is EV in the Stix. Hey, Morgan.
Yeah, what's up?
You ever hear of that old movie Tommy Boy?
Tommy Boy. Fat guy in a little coat.
All right, fat guy in a little coat. The real question is, what does Chris Farley have to do with electric vehicles in the Stix?
Chris Farley has nothing to do with EV and in the Stix. However, he has a cousin who happens to be the CEO of the Ford Motor Company.
Chris Farley, Jim Farley, and fat guy in a little coat. Listen, if you like our corny jokes, make sure you like this video.
And subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Smash that like button.
Okay.
So, Jim Farley was blowing up my Twitter feed at 6 a.m. this morning.
6 a.m.?
He had something he wanted the whole world to know.
Wait a minute. Back up. There was an amazing announcement at 6 a.m., but 2 days ago he made another announcement. He said, there is no way that Ford is would ever split. Ever.
Well, it turns out that that was not entirely true, as we would say in corporate America. It turns out that, in fact, they have split into Ford Blue and Ford Model E.
Now, Model E is all their technologies and all their electric vehicles, but Ford Blue is still supposed to be the breadwinner.
At least for now. Ford Blue is going to be their conventional internal combustion engine cars, those ICE cars that we disparage on this channel in every episode. And they're saying that that's going to be the primary profit driver, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I think it's clear that Ford Blue is to bring in the profit, and Ford Model E is to bring in the investors.
Yeah,
it's for the future. So why does this strategy make sense for Ford, or why doesn't it make sense?
Well, I think the reason they're doing it, is because they got to get on even ground with all the rest of the EV companies out there. And
like Tesla.
They're all startups, new, agile, financially. They're mobile, they're agile, they can make decision changes because they're smaller. And I think if they get the agility of a startup like that, it's going to help them. Plus, they're going to be wanting to bring in a bunch of new people. For example, they brought in Doug Field.
Now, just to give you some background on Doug Field is a Silicon Valley creature.
He's the guru.
This guy worked on Apple's project for autonomous and electric vehicles. And he also, after that, went and worked for Tesla. And then in September, he gets hired by Ford, and he was just promoted with this split to be the Chief Electric Vehicle and Digital Services Officer for Ford Motor Company. They're bringing somebody from Silicon Valley to the heart of Michigan.
And this guy is evidently supposed to be changing the world. He's a top dollar engineer, and they went and they spent the money to steal him directly from Tesla. Or Apple.
They got him from Tesla. Apple was his job before Tesla.
But
this is a guy who knows about advanced vehicles and who knows the importance that technology plays in today's automotive world.
Yeah, and they didn't hire him by accident. It didn't just happen. They sought this out. And so I believe they're making investments to make that electric changeover in their company.
Speaking of investments, according to Reuters, creating Ford Model E,
$50
billion.
Yes,
that is $50 billion with a B.
That's like starting up any kind of car company. That's a huge investment they did to do this, which is also going to move a lot of capital for this new company to make electric vehicles.
Absolutely it will. And it's a major investment. The question remains, is it going to work? Can you have your cake and eat it too? That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They want to have the agility and the culture of a startup in Ford Model E, and they want the mass market experience, and they want the stability that an established company has. So they want the best of both worlds. They want to have their cake and eat it too. Can they?
Well, and we know that from talking to other people and reading a bunch of other articles that at Ford, they also asked them to Ford Blue to cut
$3 billion worth of expenses. That's what we're hearing in the articles we're reading. $3 billion is absolutely massive.
Yeah, that's a big cut.
So Ford Blue really is expected to win the bread and to be able to do it on a tight budget, whereas Ford Model E is expected.
However, my forecast is massive layoffs. But I don't know that. That's a guess from
that's
how
an
much
awful
they
big
want to cut.
risk to take in saying that, but you may be right. I think what Ford sees...
That kind of money, you want to cut that kind of money. That's a lot
what Ford sees, what Jim Farley understands, and by the way, he's going to be more directly involved with Ford Model E per his tweet. What Jim Farley believes is that electric vehicles are the future of Ford Motor Company. That's clear. So how long will Ford Blue remain the breadwinner remains to be seen. But I think we can tell with a $50 billion investment and going and finding the best talent in Silicon Valley, Ford's going to make a play.
Yep.
Time will tell whether or not this effort succeeds.
It's all going to see.
If you want to hear more about what's going on with Ford and this split, make sure you stay tuned to this channel. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe. It's absolutely critical to keeping us able to develop and give you the best electric vehicle content.
And as we're bringing all that up, you want to stay up to date? An old company that is putting its foot into the water. It's going to check out the EVs.
What a disappointment Stellantis is. Let's show the latest disappointment from Stellantis.
There you go. It's the Jeep.
It's an electric Jeep. Hey, Dad, what kind of Jeep? Is this a Jeep?
You don't know. I don't know.
Is it a Jeep Compass?
I don't know.
Is it a Jeep Wrangler?
Can't tell.
Is it a Jeep Renegade?
All I know is the first
It's
picture.
definitely not a Jeep Gladiator.
The first picture seen of the Bolt was in 2015. Right? And they were putting them on the road and selling them in 17, right?
Yeah, but surely Jeep has given us stats on this vehicle that they haven't named. How much range it got, Morgan?
It doesn't have anything listed. No range.
No range?
No power. No capacities. No specs. No seating. No.
Well, can it tow my camper?
You have no idea. You won't know until
my family
later.
My family needs a 7-seat SUV. Can it carry my family around?
Couldn't tell you. Just couldn't tell you.
Could I take it on a road trip to Alabama? Does it have DC fast charging abilities?
No, but it's 2022 March, 2022, and they're talking about this thing being out there for 2023. They high as a kite. There ain't no way it's going to be on the market in 2023. There's no way.
One thing I want to say is what an absolute embarrassment and disappointment Stellantis is. And more importantly, this company is going to pay. They are at least 7 years behind GM, who, by the way, only delivered 26 electric vehicles in Q4 of 2021.
And if you like hearing that statement, like and subscribe because he says it all the time.
Listen, I have made it a point to say that GM only delivered 26 electric vehicles in Q4 of 2021 in every episode. So like and subscribe for this kind of content. Right? Now, listen. Stellantis is not going to survive the electric vehicle revolution.
No.
We're in the middle of a revolution. We just had a big story about everything Ford has done.
Doesn't Stellantis already make EVs in Europe?
Some, but very limited. They're certainly not a leader in Europe either. The Tesla Model 3, I think, is one of the top-selling EVs in Europe right now.
Okay.
Can,
Michael gives them 0 freaking sticks.
They get 0 freaking sticks. They didn't even tell me the range on this piece of garbage. However, I may have
if you want to hear
overstated.
more about our opinions, you got to like and subscribe, and we'll give you a few more. Okay.
We're full of them. So
The next
I
thing,
may have overstated when I said they were the biggest embarrassment.
there is a bigger embarrassment, and it's in another startup
There certainly
company.
may be, at least the way we're reading it.
It sure looks awfully
And what's
funny.
sad about this one is this startup actually looked like they were the real deal. They finally started delivering vehicles. They had a very compelling product, but that
They were
product,
the first electric truck you could get in America.
Rivian. Rivian has turned into a really bad news story as of today. Rivian has raised their prices on all their trims 20%.
But the forecast price that they started with was all put out before the IPO.
And not only that, they're not honoring people who ordered a year ago. They're not honoring the price those people were promised. It is pay the 20% increase or don't get your vehicle. That's just really crappy business
Now, you're
practice.
talking about a vehicle that starts at 70, and there are people that are going to have to go from 70 to $90,000. It's just,
massive increases in this price. Here's the shocking thing, though.
I
So
gotta
not
believe
only,
you're doing it.
and they're claiming it's due to material goods increases, but here's the problem. Seems that this issue with the vehicle being too low a price, but they were promising that low price to customers, was known long before the IPO.
They knew about it?
Rivian is involved in a lawsuit from former executive Laura Schwab. She said the price was too low. She gave those warnings. Those warnings were either not believed to be valid at the time, and they realized later they were, and that's if you're reading the best of motives. What I think is more likely is they didn't want to raise the price until after the IPO. Because those executives involved, they got their big
Now,
check.
we're going to
when
talk
the
about an IPO.
happened.
You got to give a little bit more information in that, because some of the people out in the Stix don't know what an IPO is.
I think most do. But an IPO is an initial public offering. It's the first time that shares in your company
Are
are
sold
on the
market.
open market. So then the people who were holding the private company, usually the executives in that private company, get their shares sold as part of that IPO, and they get paid.
If they sell
for their
shares,
ownership.
the owners get paid.
The shares sold at $78 a share, 153 million shares, $12 billion raised in the IPO.
12 billion?
These executives walked off with a multi-billion-dollar payday from the IPO.
From the IPO,
It is
and
no
all they
accident.
did was raise the price $20,000.
The IPO probably would have looked a lot different had major issues, because 20% is not inflation. Even with as high as inflation is, that's not inflation. At 20%, what happened was they said if we raise before the IPO, our market outlook is going to look really crappy as everybody starts canceling their orders and reservations. So we better wait till after the IPO, until after we get paid, before we walk off with everybody's money.
Now you're talking about insider training. Inside information on the
I don't know if
stock
it's
market.
insider trading. I'm not a lawyer. But if it's not illegal, should be. They definitely manipulated the price of their truck and what they were telling consumers the price of their truck was.
There was definitely some ethics violations.
For sure.
For sure. At the very least, ethics.
I'm not a lawyer, but it sounds like theft to me. So,
And not to mention this Laura
Schwab was in there raising the alarm bell ahead of time, and what
doing her job, and how did she get rewarded? You're
They fired her.
fired. You're
They fired her.
fired.
Nobody likes a whistleblower, Morgan. Listen, I find this tragic. I'm a believer in electric vehicles. I love what Tesla's done, and they've gone through some investigations too, to be clear. I like what Ford's trying to do. I don't know if it'll work, but I like what they're trying to do.
Well, I hope they get agile and that they move around and that everything comes out really good for them.
But I was hoping more of Rivian. I really was hoping more of Rivian. I thought they could be a more grown-up version of Tesla.
Hey, can we backtrack for a minute?
Sure.
Now that we've seen Rivian, we expected all this, and Rivian gave us a belly drop. They let us down. However, about other current events and news, there was somebody said some rumor about some used F-150 Lightning Pro being on a website somewhere.
Yeah, here's the picture of it. Listen, I believe that dealers are getting ready to gouge. That's not a surprise. But please don't pay $94,000 for a truck that's stickered at 40. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I would not recommend that. I would say just wait in line and don't pay that kind of money. That's crazy.
Listen.
It's a used vehicle, and this one's not even in existence because they don't have any deliveries yet.
If you're a person out in the sticks who's tired of paying $4 a gallon for gas, if you're ready to help clean up the environment and clean up our act as a country and as a planet, like this video, subscribe to our channel. We need the help. We need your viewership, and thank you for your support. This
has been EV in the Stix.